Well, we're on the penultimate day now of the Australian Tourism Exchange 2008 in Perth in Western Australia, and it is the largest single show of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere, and without doubt the largest show in Australia. And I've just bumped into two guys who are working or are responsible for a very new development in New South Wales, and it was Joost Heymeijer, very good, and David Garner. Joost is the general manager of the Wolgan Valley Resort and Spa, which has been developed by Emirates, and David Garner's from Dubai, and he's the manager commercial. Well, guys, welcome to ATE.
Thank you.
And I know you've had some challenging times over the last 12 months, but the resort, I'm told that the first villa is nearly complete, and Joost, I think you had a full head of hair when you arrived in Australia. What's the current state of play?
Yeah, thanks. We're now in our 8th month of construction. We turned the first soil in November of last year in full view of Sheikh Ahmed, who came and visited.
I was there.
And you were there, so both two VIPs.
Oh, thank you.
The first villa is near complete. It's a system of us being able to check the quality of the other 39 villas that we're currently building, and we're right on program. We're building a very interesting rural area where infrastructure is a challenge, but we've got a very good builder and we're meeting the challenges, and yeah, we're on target at the moment for a late May 2009 finish of construction, and then hopefully our first guests in September 2009.
What makes Wolgan Valley different to other resorts?
First of all, its location. To be able to have a hidden valley only 2.5 hours out of Sydney and quintessential Australia, quintessential Blue Mountains, on the doorstep of a city with 4.5 million people is fantastic. It's completely unspoiled. We're surrounded by high cliffs and part of the Blue Mountains World Heritage Area.
Oh, excellent.
So it's a unique combination.
But in terms of the facilities you're going to provide at this resort, I can imagine that it's probably not inexpensive. And so what sort of facilities or what sort of unique elements would people expect if they say, look, I'm going to go and stay in Wolgan Valley for a week or whatever, if I'm from overseas or from Australia? What would they expect to see there that may be different or better than other places?
I think you're right. It's not inexpensive, but expense is a relative thing.
Absolutely.
And what we provide is a very unique location. We provide 4,000 acres of pure privacy and solitude in a unique location where we manage not the property but also the conservation values of that property, and we're going through a big regeneration and conservation program. We provide an enormous high level of service in a privacy surrounds that is unmatched in the way we fit out our cottages, in the way we source our products and produce, and deliver a full-on experience for our guests rather than just an overnight stay. It's a real induction into outback Australian life.
And where do you anticipate most of your guests coming from?
Well, maybe David should answer that question.
Sure. Well, David, you're the man, I suppose, that watches him spending loads of money.
That's right.
Because you're the commercial guy over in Dubai. I wanted to ask you a question before that about where the guests come from. Where did all this stem from? Because I've spoken with Sheikh Ahmed and so on, but you have a resort in Dubai called Heymeijer. Tell me a bit about that and how this evolved.
Sure. Well, Emirates Hotels Resorts has been born only a couple of years ago, really. The background to the actual main hotels and resorts for Emirates Airline Group is Heymeijer Desert Resort and Spa, which is located in the Dubai Desert Conservation Reserve in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Again, it's only 42 luxury suites, conservation-led approach. We manage and control the 225 square kilometres of the Dubai Desert Conservation Reserve, as will Joost and his team down here in Australia with the 4,000 acres that we are controlling and our conservation-led activities there. The Heymeijer is 10 years old this year, which we're very excited about. And on the back of success of Heymeijer has started our other projects. We have 2 other properties that have recently opened in Dubai, but they're in Dubai City. And this is our first resort property, conservation-led, which is outside the shores of the UAE, which we're very, very excited about. And I'm sure it's the first of many to come.
So what about where are the clients going to come from?
Okay, the clients for the Wolgan Valley, well, we know that there is going to be a mix of clients from both international and domestic tourism here in Australia. as you said, we've got 4.5 million people from Sydney itself. There's quite an affluent market there as well, so we expect some good high traffic during the weekend business, especially. From the international market, from the leisure markets, the visiting friends and relatives, we see a high amount of travel from the key European feeder markets that you already have, such as the UK, Germany, Italy, France, etc. And then obviously from the US is a very strong market still. Inbound into Australia, and we see a good proportion coming from the high-end tour operators and travel agents from the US.
Sure. Are we likely to see more of your, not your countrymen per se, but people from the UAE or from the Middle East? Is that likely to happen?
Well, I would expect so, with the frequency of the routes that Emirates now has from the hub of Dubai inbound into Australia, flying into various different states and cities now in Australia. This will continue to grow with the as we take on more aircraft on board. Sure. The A380 starting in August of this year, we expect to see quite high growth. Now, obviously, you have east and west traffic there, with people coming from the US, from the UK, etc., using Dubai as a hub and then coming down into Australia. We see that continuing, but why not? Why can't we increase the Arab and Gulf state market? They're an affluent travellers, and they have a high spend per head. They understand Al Maha. They all have been there.
The concept's proven with them, yeah.
So I think there is a natural lead-in for them to come down to Sydney and then go on and explore the Wolgan Valley.
Fantastic. Well, guys, now if somebody wants to find out more information on Emirates, Wolgan Valley, how do they do that?
Well, what I'd recommend is they log onto our website, www.emirateshotelsresorts.com. There's a whole host of information there on the website, not just on the Wolgan Valley, but on all our properties. And that is a launch pad there. And they can get in contact with the local office, our sales office here in Sydney, and request brochures, and we can take it from there and keep them updated with regular newsletters.
Sure. But wholesalers from overseas and tour operators and so on who are thinking about placing clients or contracting with you in the future, when should they be talking with you ready for the opening?
Well, that's why we're here at ATE. Yep. We're talking to the Australian market now. Obviously, we are scheduled to be open in September next year, which is the last 6 months of the contracting year. So we're currently going through the negotiation process to have our property featured in as many operators as we can. They're very excited by the Wolgan Valley project. It's the only luxury property really coming online in Australia in the next 18 months. There's a lot of focus about it. We're talking to you. That's a great opportunity for us again. And so the international operators obviously will start to include them for their new season starting next year. And we're already out there with our representation offices in Germany and the UK, already starting to profile a network with these operators.
Brilliant. Well, David, Joost, thank you very much indeed.
Most welcome.
So John Alwyn-Jones reporting for Travel Mole TV from the Australian Tourism Exchange in Perth in Western Australia, and I've been speaking with Joost Heymeijer and David, always get this wrong, Garner from Emirates Hotels and Resorts.